The fine folks over at Deadlock Intel have created a Deadlock Community Survey that over 7,000 people answered, and today I want to take a look at it because it's got a lot of very fascinating questions, and, well, I didn't actually get to participate in it because I didn't realize it was a thing until it was already over. So I want to react to this, see what people are thinking about Deadlock, and give my own thoughts as to what I would have answered for these questions. Now, of course, if you want to check this out for yourself, a link will be in the description down below. But yeah, look at this website, man. They got some crazy stuff going on over at Deadlock Intel. But yeah, over 7,143 people responded to this community survey, and it asked a whole host of questions about various characters and other aspects about the game, including the trajectory of the game, monetization, stuff like that. It's not an official survey by Valve, as you can see here. It's a fan project, not affiliated with them, but it is still really interesting to look at. So the first thing here is just the demographics of who actually plays Deadlock. And what you can see up top here is basically what it looks like to be the average Deadlock player. The average Deadlock player is between 18 to 24 years of age, is male, from North America, and is probably in Oracle. About 15.7% of all players who answered the survey are in Oracle. Now, something to note about the ranks here is that I'm guessing this is skewed up from the actual rank data of people who play Deadlock, because if you are more involved with the community, you're a higher rank player, you're more likely to go and check out this survey and answer these questions. So there's probably a little bit of selection bias going on here if I had to guess, but yeah, Oracle is still a very popular rank nonetheless, and over 50% of players are between Emissary and Ascendant, with just 4.8% of players who answered the poll being in Eternus, which is notably higher than the amount of players in Initiate. Just 3.7% of players are Initiate who answered this poll, which again kind of leads to the thought I had of self-selection bias going on here. But then we can look at the age and region demographics, and we have a lot of people, more than half of people between 18 to 24, which includes myself, although at the end of the year I will fall into the 25 to 34 bracket, technically, as I will be 25, so... But yeah, most people, the vast majority of people, are between 18 and 34, and, well, at least one person who answered this poll is over 65, which is more than can be said for the 0% of participants who are between 55 and 64. Huh. That's interesting. Whose granddad is on Deadlock? I want to meet that person. And also, about 6.9% of people are under age 17 to 13 playing Deadlock. So, yeah, clearly Deadlock is more so a game for people who are at least a little bit more mature, which makes sense. It's a very, very complicated game, so, yeah, it takes a big, fully developed brain to really grasp this game, am I right? Who am I kidding? Half the people who play this game don't understand anything. But something that really surprised me was that the majority of people who played Deadlock are from North America, or at least, again, according to this survey, the majority of people are. Only about 28.9% of players are from Europe, whereas 60% are from North America. And then the other servers make up roughly 10% of the total population. So I would have expected far more Europeans than what this poll actually shows, because traditionally, for a lot of games, Europe is the biggest player base, and for the game that I came from, Paladins, that was indeed the case. So yeah, bit of a role reversal there from what I expected the survey to look like, so that's very interesting. But we've got some more very fascinating numbers down here. The gender breakup is as follows: 83.2% male, 9.3% female, 5.4% non-binary, and 2.2% other. I'll be totally honest, I don't understand what the difference between non-binary and other is, but yeah, regardless, we do have a lot of non-binary representation here, and as with most competitive games, the vast majority is male. Maybe one day that'll change, man. I sure hope it does. As for the hours per week and total hours, they polled people on this, and this is absolutely fascinating. Most people clock in at about 6 to 10 hours per week, with a 25% roughly equivalent number, reporting between 11 to 20 hours per week. And then for the total hours, a fair number of players have between 201 to 400 total hours in Deadlock, and most people cut off at about 1 to 2,000 hours, which actually includes myself. I have, well, towards the high end of that figure, about 18 to 1900 hours. Actually, let me double check. Yeah, 1800 hours in Deadlock. So, hey, we're getting there. We're getting towards the 1 to 2% here. But yeah, 1.4% have between 2 to 3K, 0.3% have between 3 to 4K, and 0.3% have more than 4K hours, which, man, that's just crazy to me. How can someone have that many hours in this game? I do this full-time. I make content, I stream, I make videos, I play Deadlock very consistently, every single week. You guys see all the streams, and I'm nowhere close to these people. What are we doing? Also, if we wanted to answer my weekly hours here, if I just go here and then hover over Deadlock, I've got 42 hours in the past 2 weeks, which means I'm hitting about 21 hours a week. So I would fall just barely technically on this 12% marker here, kind of in the middle. I'm like on the line right here. So that's where I would end up on hours per week, which is fair enough. And don't worry about my Path of Exile 2 numbers. I promise I'm sane. Dear God. Anyways, when they first arrived as well down here, 37.6% of players arrived during 2024, which would include myself. I started playing this game about October of 2024. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. A lot of people there, but not as many as I expected, considering that the game initially blew up and kind of jumped onto the mainstream in 2024. 29% of respondents joined during 2025, and then in 2026, we actually have more players joining than in 2025, which I would say is actually a pretty good sign. And of those 2026 arrivals, 5.3% of the total player base has arrived within the last month. Wow. The last month. I mean, that's that's crazy. Nothing major even happened in the last month, besides, I guess, the earn rework. But how is that going to convince someone to join the game? That's crazy. So, yeah, pretty healthy spread here, actually, and I think that's a really good sign for the growth of the game, that this is as even as it is. It isn't just a majority of people joining during 2024. No, we are getting a ton of fresh arrivals to Deadlock. The second category here is about where everybody came from. What games were you playing before you started playing Deadlock? And this first little area up here reveals something absolutely fascinating about the game. 96% of players who play Deadlock have played a hero shooter before. The same cannot be said for MOBAs. Only 65% have played a MOBA before. So this actually reveals that Deadlock really appeals to a lot of hero shooter players, and it has convinced so many hero shooter players to give a MOBA game a try. And it really bolsters the argument that Deadlock is both a hero shooter and a MOBA game, because if it wasn't a hero shooter, why would so many hero shooter players want to come and play this game? It has the blood of both these genres flowing through its veins, but actually more people who tried Deadlock have come from the hero shooter environment, which is just... that's so crazy. And yeah, I am one of those players. I played Paladins and Overwatch before coming over to Deadlock, and, well, I don't think I would mark myself as this category, even though technically I tried Smite for, like, a handful of games back in 2017. I retained no knowledge from that. I barely knew what a video game was at that time, dude. Oh god, I was so bad at games back then, so... yeah, that's very fascinating, and also 94% of players have played a Valve game before, which is actually less than hero shooters. That's crazy. But, I mean, this is kind of broad, because if you've played, like, Half-Life 2 or Portal 2 before, then you've played a Valve game before, but it's kind of irrelevant because those games don't really have anything to do with Deadlock. They are completely and utterly different genres. The only consistency, the only through line here is that a very competent company is making the game. So, yeah, that's pretty neat. Now, the vast majority of people have got into Deadlock through a friend inviting them, which is actually very surprising because, yeah, a lot of people also have found invites on Discord, Reddit, and elsewhere, but it still looks like this is mostly just friends inviting friends to Deadlock. I get a lot of traction on my own Discord server looking for these invites, but apparently that is a minority of all the players who got into this game, so that is really neat. And then here we can see a breakdown of the games that people have come from, and more than half of players came from Overwatch. That explains a lot. Oh, okay. A further 34% of participants came from Team Fortress 2, and by the way, these numbers look very skewed. They add up to more than 100%, and that's because people seemingly were able to vote for more than one game. So, yeah, a lot of Overwatch experience, a lot of TF2 experience, League of Legends. Actually, surprisingly to me, a fair number of Counter-Strike players have come over to Deadlock, which, yeah, it's not really the same genre of game, but apparently it is appealing to some of those players, Valorant as well. Apex Legends, Dota 2 down here as well. Dota 2, actually, not as many players as I expected, considering how Deadlock is kind of Dota 3 in some aspects. And then we've got Marvel Rivals, Smite up here, Smite carrying its weight a lot more than Paladins, which is just barely mentioned at the bottom. That's the game I came from. 38 people who responded to this poll, apparently, came from Paladins. So, yeah, I would have been number 39 had I actually answered this poll. At least I convinced some of my audience to give this game a try. Heck yeah. And then finally, an appetite for esports. Half the players who responded to this poll are interested in competitive esports, and a further 33% are not currently but might be in the future, with only 14% saying no. Again, there might be a little bit of self-selection bias going on here, as if you're more involved with the community, you're probably more likely to be interested in this. So this probably wouldn't reflect the results of this poll if given to the total general population of Deadlock, if it was just put into the game one day as a survey question. So, but yeah, still very interesting. A lot of people do enjoy Deadlock esports. I'm actually not super interested in it right now personally. I haven't exactly been watching much Deadlock Fight Night, so I probably would have answered the middle one here. Not currently, but might in the future. Now let's take a look at something spicy here, the Hero Awards. These are awards for the most beloved and the most reviled heroes in the game. And, well, this first page, yeah, it's pretty accurate. The cutest hero, most adored, goes to Rem. And the only other contenders for that are Ivy and Viscus, and also 5.9% of people saying Mina? She's a different type of cute, I guess. But yeah, this absolutely makes sense. Lash winning these two. Yes. Just yes. Just yes. Just best character. I would have voted exactly the same way. I might have voted Viscus over Rem, but Rem no doubt deserves to win this. And Lash, I mean, there's really just no notes here. He is just the best. He's the best for a reason. Down here we've got Doorman winning Best Design and Best Lore here. And yeah, definitely agree on the lore. Something a little strange here is that if you read Best Design here, it says Best Character Design. If we go up to Best Kit, it also says Finest Gameplay and Design. So these kind of both seem like design awards, and notably Doorman almost won these two up here too. I'm assuming the Best Design is more so of a visual design, maybe? There aren't really good descriptions here, so maybe someone can help me out in the comments section. But yeah, the reason I say that is, well, let's look at the last one here. The silliest, most absurd character is Viscus. Yeah, again, makes total sense. But yeah, if we go down to the reviled here, Doorman's also won two of these. He is the most annoying character, and he is the most hated character. So, that's what makes me assume that the best design here is more so just like wholesale, like combination of visual design, aesthetic, voice acting, stuff like that. More so gameplay design. Because, like, can you imagine if he won Best Kit, but then also was most annoying? Like, that would just be a level of cognitive dissonance that's just completely unparalleled, never seen before. So, yeah, that's very interesting. But yeah, Doorman, beloved and also absolutely despised. He is the most annoying character in the game and the most hated character in the game. And the runners up here, in second place for both of them, is Bebop. Yeah, that makes sense. For me, I would have had Sinclair high up on the list too, but yeah, oh my god, dude, Doorman is just the worst. He really is. He is such a polarizing character, man. It's actually insane. And then for worst kit, we have Graves. Respectfully, I disagree. Yeah, I guess she is very annoying for most Deadlock players to deal with. And then the runners-up for that are Holiday, Sinclair, and McGinnis. Personally, I would have Sinclair as the worst kid in the game. I think he is in desperate need of a rework, and I think he is going to get a rework soon because he has been mysteriously absent from the last several major and minor balance patches, which is, yeah, quite curious. And then the worst design overall is Yamato, the weakest character design. And that's another reason why I think that this has to do with just more so visuals and sound design and voice acting and stuff like that, rather than actual gameplay, because, yeah, she looks awful. And the runners-up are Sinclair, Viper, and Greytown. So yeah, all of that makes absolute total sense, and, well, one day she will finally get her rework. Very well deserved, for sure. And notably, for best design here, the runners-up are Venator, Celeste, and Billy. Not who I would have expected as the highest characters in the game for best design. But, yeah, we also got Mina. We also got Graves at 6. People really love her visual design. 7 at 7. Oh, that's just perfect. That's just perfect. End the video here. We found perfection. Oh my god. Next, let's talk about the community's mood. And this is, well, very interesting, and I would have to say very much in line with what I expected. So we have these ranked here from the best to the worst opinion about the game. And the overwhelming majority of people have a very high trust in the developer's long-term vision. And that absolutely makes sense. They've given us many, many reasons to trust them, even if they do make some mistakes in the short term with balance changes, or they don't get it quite right on the first iteration of a rework. They have proven time and time again that they are willing to go the long haul on this game and try to make it the best that it can possibly be, and that they're trying to listen to community feedback and fix the game up to be, well, simply the best competitive game out there. And so I would also have rated this an absolute 5 stars. I have full faith that Valve will be able to make this game incredible, even though I will also admit right now it's a little bit painful to play the game. Like, I'm really not enjoying the chaos around the urn, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's a great game. There's a reason I've sunk so many hours into it, and yeah, absolutely incredible here. And then first impression of Deadlock is the second highest thing here, 3.9 stars. Developer communication, pretty solid, 3.8 stars. Honestly, I'm surprised it's this high, considering how Valve isn't exactly the best about communication in many aspects, and Yoshi is kind of an enigmatic character. He's very silent on a lot of things. They don't really explain why they do certain changes, but yeah, at least we do get regular, consistent patches, so that's good. 3.5 stars on the general state of the game, about mid-tier. Yeah, that makes sense. And then, down below, the worst things here. The in-game anti-cheat. I'll be so for real. I never encounter cheaters. Like, straight up. I don't think I've ever gotten the chance to frog somebody in this game. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I assume the anti-cheat is working pretty well because I've never encountered cheaters. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I would have rated this a little bit higher just based on my personal experience. But then, how would you describe the community? This is a lot more split. You can see a lot more 3 stars here for neutral. It's got its positives and it's got its negatives, and I don't want to deal too much with the negatives. But, yeah, there are also a lot of great people in the community, too, and a lot of great sub-communities within Deadlock, like Loot and Snake's whole community. So that's pretty cool. And then the absolute worst, how the game handles smurfing and how the game handles toxicity. Yeah, both of these definitely need some work. And especially with that whole Eternus Q debacle that went down, yeah, it's no surprise that smurfs are a very big issue. But then over here, most people, overwhelming amount of people, feel extremely optimistic towards the game's future. Look at how many people voted 5. Strongly agree. 77% of people. That's great. And yeah, most people similarly share the same view about the game improving over time and the devs listening to community feedback, although they get a little bit of a poorer score here. But where things get really bad is, well, the game's accessibility for new players. Now, I actually would have rated this even worse before the advent of Street Brawl. But Street Brawl has actually done so much to bridge the gap between coming to the game as a fresh install and being able to sink your teeth into the main game mode. It really is a nice middle ground, a nice casual place where you can learn more about the characters and the items without having to do all that macro nonsense. But it is still a really tough game to get into for a beginner, so I don't think personally I would rate them any higher than a 3. And then here we've got some fun versus competitive fairness with the update philosophy. So yeah, it's actually pretty balanced on how people perceive the fairness versus the pure fun dynamic of balance in this game. Which, honestly, I think that's really good. I think that's exactly what the devs of this game should be looking to do, is make sure that we have a lot of fun mechanics, and we have a lot of fair mechanics, and if everybody's really strong, then, hey, that's fine. That's a good way to balance the game, you know, even if it gets a little annoying sometimes, cough, cough, doorman. So, yeah, that's pretty good. And then also for the update philosophy, people would say they prefer more frequent experiments rather than rare updates that are more polished. And so, yeah, that's pretty interesting as well. I would prefer frequent polished updates, but that would just be, I guess, a little bit too good. That would be too much of a perfect world to live in. Now, here's a fun category. The Voices of Deadlock. This is a survey about content creators and social media. And so we have two main categories here, most helpful and informative, and then most entertaining. And for the most helpful informative, well, Deathy won by a very clear majority, holy crap, and no surprises there. In my opinion, he's the face of Deadlock. But look who's at number 7. Look who's at number 7. I made it onto the list. You know what? That's a victory in and of itself. Even if people think Metro is more informative than me. Although we got basically the same score. Can I hover over and see, like, the difference it was in votes? Yoshi is a content creator. Can I not hover over this? I want to see. I don't think I can. I want to see if it's like a different, like, 1 vote. That would be funny. And then for most entertaining, Zergy won this, but not nearly by the same dominance that Deathy won the other category. And then down at number 10 is the content creator I would have voted for, Gluten Snake. I really enjoy his videos. I think they're super unique, and that's what I would have voted for here. And then for where people get their news, general social media is where people get their news, stuff like Twitter, and then content creators in second place here. And once again, people are able to vote for both, so yeah, I almost wonder if content creators counts as general social media in a lot of people's minds. But yeah, that's why I keep making update videos, because a lot of people watch them and they get their news that way, so I'm going to keep doing that for you guys. Now we get to talk about cosmetics and what people would prefer here, and this is a bit of a tricky subject as always, because there are a lot of ways to implement microtransactions that just aren't very consumer friendly, and this kind of reflects that here with the monetization players would accept. So first of all, the vast majority of people would spend money on this game. 54% say absolutely yes, while 35.9% say maybe. I'm an absolutely yes. Once they add microtransactions, I will buy skins, and once they make a REM plushie, I will buy the REM plushie. Valve, make a REM plushie. Please, do it. You're leaving so much money on the table by not doing that. And also, 52% of players use mods, which is absolutely crazy to me. I did not think it would be over 50%. I do think, again, harken back to the self-selection bias here, this is probably not representative of the total player base, just the more active community that is likely to answer this poll. So I do reckon it's still probably less than 50% if they were to ask this question on a pop-up in the game itself towards players who have no idea that this poll even happened. But still, that is a very shocking number. A lot of people love mods, and 52% of people who said that they run mods run skin mods, with other people also running UI HUD mods, audio mods, game optimization mods, convenience mods, and then other mods. I didn't even know there were optimization mods. Huh, that's pretty cool. But as for the monetization that players would accept, so 80% of people are okay with just straight up cosmetic microtransactions. You hand Valve some money, you get a skin back, just like walking into a store. And the Steam Marketplace as well, half of people are okay with that, being able to trade with other players. 37% of people are okay with battle passes and season passes, which is more than can be said for loot boxes. Loot boxes at almost half of the acceptance of battle passes. And personally, I think 20% is still too high. I'm not a fan of loot boxes. I really hope they don't add this, but knowing Valve, they probably will, considering how it's in basically every other game they have. Downloadable content, DLC, 19.4%. How would they even do this? What, you have like DLC characters that you can buy? Or something like that? I'll be honest, I don't know how that would work for Deadlock, but without being super scummy anyways. So I would probably vote no on that one. Subscriptions for convenience, only at 8.6%. Y'all, how are 8.6% of people going to say, hey, I want a Deadlock subscription? Oh, no. Hard no on that, in my opinion. 7.6% of players say they would not accept any monetization. I also think that's ridiculous. They gotta make money somehow to keep the lights on and keep the game in development. So, personally, I'm okay with cosmetic microtransactions, Steam Marketplace stuff, and I'd be okay with a Battle Pass, but anything other than that, I'm not really the biggest fan of. Second to last here, we have the Oracle. Not to be confused with the Oracle rank. This is predicting the future, where Deadlock will be in 5 years. And, well, 92% of players expect to still be playing in 5 years. That's a really good sign for the health of this game. That's actually incredible. Hopefully, that remains true. But I definitely consider myself to be in that 92%. I will almost certainly be playing Deadlock and making Deadlock content in 5 years, assuming that things keep going up and up and up for the channel, as they have been here in 2026. But then also, down here, we've got the predicted peak concurrent players in 5 years, with 20.9%, the largest plurality here, saying that it'll have hit 1 million peak concurrent players. That is pretty fascinating and pretty ambitious, and the second highest plurality says 500,000, which is much more conservative. Now, I actually want to take a look at the Steam charts for Valve's other titles to see what the most realistic outcome would be. So Deadlock right now has hit an all-time high of 171,000 players, and that was 1.8 years ago, back in 2024. If we go to the Steam charts here, we can take a look at Counter-Strike 2 and Dota 2 and look at their all-time peak. So Counter-Strike 2, you can see here, hit an all-time peak of 1.8 million concurrent players. That's bananas. And Dota 2 similarly hit 1.2 million all-time peak. So, yeah, honestly, I think Deadlock definitely is on track to hit that when it full releases, based on Valve's other 2 titles and based on the trajectory of how well Deadlock has been growing. Yeah, that definitely seems feasible. If we were able to hit nearly 2/10 of that just from an invite-only system and just hype building up from word of mouth, then yeah, oh my god, this game is going to be huge when it finally hits the front page of the Steam store page. People also predicted the hero count in 5 years. Right now we've got 38 heroes in Deadlock, and the largest plurality here expects there to be 61 to 70 heroes in 5 years. Now, if we go at the current rate of about 6 heroes every half a year, then, well, that's 12 heroes per year, multiply that by 5, and we're looking at, well, closer to this figure, about 98 heroes. That's a lot. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if they're going to slow down or not when it comes to the hero releases. Some games like League of Legends have a ridiculous amount of characters, an utterly absurd amount of characters. But the more characters you add to the game, the harder it is to balance and maintain. So I do wonder if at a certain point Valve will decide, alright, we have all the characters that we wanted to add to the game, let's slow down our pace and, let's maybe only add a couple of characters each year, based on, any new ideas that we want to add or something like that. And so maybe the 61 to 70 figure is more realistic, but 5 years is also a long time and other games have crazy amounts of heroes, so I don't know, we'll see. Now, other miscellaneous things here. 59% of players expect there to be a hero draft this year. Hopefully that's the case. That would be really nice. 49% also expect loot boxes to come into the game. I really hope not, but it is a Valve title, so I would probably say, yeah, they're probably going to add loot boxes, regrettably so. And then 95% of people think there will be a Valve-backed tournament. Frankly, this should be 100%, because doesn't Valve back tournaments all the time for Dota and CS? So, yeah, absolutely, there will be a Valve-backed tournament at some point in the future. And then this last question is a little silly. In 5 years, yeah, the game's gonna be full release. If it's not full release in 5 years, I don't even know. I don't even know. That's unfathomable to me. 18% of people think it'll still be in beta, and 3.1% still think it'll be in early development. 3.1% of people are stupid. Sorry for being blunt. That's just... no. That's not gonna happen. So, yeah, I think 5 years it'll absolutely be fully released. And then we just have some final stats here between the lines. So 94% of players who rate a core problem poorly are still optimistic about the game's future. People rated 2.5 on smurfing, toxicity, and new player access, but they still trust the devs and are optimistic. Esports interest tracks skill. The more skilled you are at the game, the more interested you are in esports. That makes sense. And toxicity feels worse at the top, with a slightly worse toxicity rating at Eternus than Obscurus, which again makes total sense, as, yeah, well, people think they know it all once they're at the top ranks, and they get real pissed when they see someone make a mistake. The most divisive character is the Doorman, who got a ton of votes for Beloved, but also a ton of votes for Reviled. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Rem is the universally most beloved character in the entire game. That absolutely makes sense. He's absolutely amazing to have on your team. Love the heals. He's just a cute little guy. He's got a great design. Yeah, love that. And the most reviled character is Yamato. Nobody really likes this character, but she got a heck of a lot of votes for the worst character design in the game. So... yep. Rest in peace, Yamato. Also, Mastery breeds doubt. The more skilled you are at the game, the less optimistic and trustful in the devs you are, which is probably just people being jaded from playing this game too much. And then, yeah, people don't like smurfing, and people will pay for cosmetics, but they do not want to gamble for cosmetics. And that's the survey. So I thought this was really interesting, and I think it was fun to see where my opinion differs from the majority when it comes to Deadlock here. But ultimately, this survey does just fill me with hope for Deadlock, because it's great to see that so many people are so optimistic for this game, want to stick around, want to see it be the best game that it can be. So that's really, I think, the biggest takeaway from the Deadlock Community Survey at the end of the day. And I'm very excited to see these guys do another survey in a year's time or 2 years' time or however long it's going to take to see how the community evolves and changes with time. That'll be really fun, and I'll make a follow-up video when that happens. But anyways, hopefully you guys found this video to be fun. If you did, of course, make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future content from me. And with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.